New Shimano Dura-Ace, we think it's due sometime this year, not least because this year is Shimano's centenary, which it celebrated just a couple of weeks ago. And also because if Dura-Ace followed its traditional 4-year product cycle, it would have been released last year, which makes us think that it's overdue. As early as last summer, Remco Evenepoel's Instagram account showed him riding a bike adorned with what looked like new Shimano group set parts. Could it have been new Dura-Ace? Since then, we've seen patents aplenty, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you what we think we know about new Dura-Ace, and more crucially, what we don't know yet. Back in November, the beady-eyed folks at Cycling Tips uncovered a patent filed by Shimano, which seemed to confirm that Dura-Ace would indeed be 12-speed. It also confirmed that the Shimano numbering convention would continue, as Dura-Ace going to be called the R9-200 group set. Back to that patent, however, and it included a detailed drawing of a cassette, which seemed to start with a 10-tooth sprocket and maxed out with 48 teeth being able to be counted on the largest sprocket. Now, there must be various ratios available, because what road group set would use a 48-tooth sprocket? That's a number typically resigned for mountain biking and extreme gravel riding, but we don't know just yet. Now, changing up a cassette's ratios isn't all that radical, and let's not forget that SRAM did exactly that by introducing a 10-tooth sprocket to its X-Range gearings when it released its AXS group sets. 4 new chainring sizes and 4 new cassette sizes covered everything from endurance riders and amateurs right through to World Tour pros. Now, could it be that Shimano is planning on rolling out its 12-speed gearing to its lower tier group sets in the imminent future? That would certainly help explain the 48-tooth sprocket detailed in the diagram. So those are a couple of things we still don't know about how it will introduce 12-speed gearing for its road group set, but what we do know is there will definitely be 12 gears on new Dura-Ace. It has long been a differentiator between Shimano and SRAM, but applications to the US Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, seem to show that Shimano will be introducing a degree of wireless technology to the new group set. Now, bear in mind that SRAM did this as long ago as 2015. Now, the arrival of some form of wireless communications would solve a lot of Di2 routing quandaries for Shimano, and it would certainly be well received by home mechanics and professional World Tour mechanics alike. Now, I say in some form or wireless to a degree, and it's important to note that because no patent has been found that shows a completely wireless Shimano group set. So it looks like it will be only semi-wired, and what we mean by that is that the shifters could be wireless, but it looks like the derailleurs will be wired in some configuration. Now, in one version of the document, both the derailleurs were connected to a single battery. Now, this could be placed centrally, perhaps in the seat tube or somewhere in the frame, and this is very similar or almost identical to how current Shimano Di2 group sets operate. However, there is an alternative version which shows the batteries being piggybacked on the rear derailleurs, similar to how SRAM's AXS wireless group sets work. But there was no diagram showing a wireless front mech, so presumably that will need to be wired in some way. So what we don't know is whether the front or rear derailleurs will be wired together with a brain in the rear derailleur operating the front derailleur as and when shifts are needed, with the shifters being completely wireless and separate altogether. It's also worth noting that the documents showed that Shimano's system would operate on Bluetooth LTE as well as an ANT Plus network, as well as a third-party private network called Shimano Original, which would allow it to operate on its own frequency, much like SRAM does, to prevent interference. It's also worth noting that the tests were conducted with a new battery BT-DN300, which is a departure from the current Shimano battery. A patent which was filed on July 22nd of last year and discovered by mechanical engineer Alan Coate at Cycling Tips seems to suggest that Shimano is planning on using a piezoelectric system in its shifters. Now, I understand what you're thinking. What on earth is piezoelectric technology? Well, piezoelectric systems work by applying a force to a material, typically some form of crystal or ceramic, and when that force is applied, that material elicits an electric charge, which could be used by the shifters to send a shift to either the front or rear derailleur. Now, this all sounds incredibly futuristic to me, but I'm reliably informed it's actually the same system that is used in electric cigarette lighters, so, you know, it is quite commonplace. There is, however, an alternative version of the patent that has been found, which shows Shimano using a slightly more traditional system of a coin cell battery inside the shifter. Personally, we think that piezoelectricity might be a click too far for Shimano, and we predict the coin cell being the chosen route. But, crucially, only time will tell. Now, for sure, one of the biggest questions around the new group set is, could it be disc brake only, and could Shimano get rid of rim brakes from its top tier group set? Well, the shifter descriptions in the documents include both a mechanical operated and a hydraulic operated setup. So the answer to that question seems to be a hard no, which we know our rim brake loving fans out there will be relieved to hear, as will Team Ineos, as it means their team can carry on winning Grand Tours for at least another 4 years on rim brake bikes. So, what do we still not know about the group set? Well, we have no idea what materials Dura-Ace will be made from. It could be that Shimano have landed on a completely different way to make up their group sets, which might cut weight and make them lighter, but we don't know, and only time will tell. Similarly, we still have no real indication of what the chainring sizes and the cassette sizes will be, as it's likely that the cassette diagrams in the patents and in the documents are purely illustrative. We know that there will be a 10-tooth sprocket design, just like SRAM introduced when it went 12-speed, but what size are the chainrings going to be? That will be really interesting to see. And finally, I still have some questions around that 48-tooth sprocket that was in the cassette, because what on earth would that be doing on a road bike? Much more likely to find that on mountain bikes or gravel bikes, so could it be that Dura-Ace is going to enter the gravel market? It's a high-flying dream that I find too hard to believe, but I'll leave it out there as a question for you guys to ponder. So there you go, everything we know and some things we still don't know about new Dura-Ace. But tell us in the comment section below, what are your hopes and dreams for this new group set? What would you love to see? And do you think we've got anything right, or do you think we've got anything wrong? Let us know, we'd love to hear from you. And if you have enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the Cycling Weekly YouTube channel, and I'll see you soon with some more great tech content.